Stewart leads out the Canberra Raiders. This brilliant back line, Nagus, Mandruku, Mullins, Fulavai in the centres. Lightning on the other wing, Daly and Stewart. But it's the backs, the back row, the front row, it's brilliant everywhere. Hongia, Prittis and Hetherington up front, Kennedy, Ferner and Clyde in the back row. There are 3-point scoring machines in that back row and lock forward position. Ken Nagus has had a tremendous year, but even he isn't the top of the try scoring list. That belongs to Kennedy and Mullins. 13 tries and 10 tries apiece.
A lot of people probably arguing that Kenny Nagus is Canberra's second choice fullback. He's not a bad bloke to have as number 2, is he? Of course, they've got some real attacking machines out there. A couple of the guys that we have seen on camera there, Bradley Clyde, Ricky Stewart, they really are the guys that lay the basis for this attacking machine to start, and I'm sure that they're going to be the ones that probably work in with this man in particular. Laurie Daly, judged to be one of the finest players in rugby league at the moment. He's a guy that will really probably lead by example this evening, I think. Mal would have instructed to him that it's too dangerous to expect his guys go out there and just wait for a win. But even looking at a couple of early faces there, the expression, I think it's fairly obvious that the Reds aren't in this game just to go out there and accept a loss.
Plenty of grit and determination, as you say, on those faces. John Wilshere about to put the headgear on. Mark Geyer follows him out. Geyer was captain at one stage of the season. This is the lineup. Matt Geyer at fullback, Brady Smith on the wing, Ryan and Fleming the centres, Wilshere is the other winger. Damien Chapman named at 5'8" tonight. Now, Sean Devine has been dropped to reserve grade, so Chapman 5'8", Rodwell half, Green, Fuller and Kearns the front row, Evans, Mark Geyer and Fritz the back row for Perth. Dean Lance, the coach of the Perth Reds, former Canberra player and coached in the lower grades at Canberra, but once Mal Meninga got the job, Dean Lance moved on.
Well, I think it'll be pretty interesting to see exactly how Damien Chapman accepts this game. I was over here around about a month ago when the World Club Championship was on. He was on the field for around about 16 or 17 minutes, and I believe he was the player of the match in that short term.
Stephen Clark blows the whistle, and the roar goes up from the crowd. Pretty good atmosphere, and did Ricky Stewart touch that kick? He did, and it'll be a goal line dropout.
Well, he did, but I think that Ricky's probably starting to toss the coin and remind himself that it makes no difference whether he touched the ball or not. He has got to make sure that he grabs that football. You can't expect somebody else is going to grab that. Not the way that the Raiders are going to start off, although probably Mal Meninga wouldn't mind that too much. He'll think that these guys have had an instant reminder of just how much they've got to look after themselves in this game, grab the football themselves and not wait for somebody else to do it.
And Robbie Kearns brings it back for Perth. On the sideline tonight, we've got Andy Raymond, Andy Canberra. Little really to gain tonight, plenty to lose. What's the look in their eye?
Mate, I can tell you the look in the eye is very, very focused. That's a dangerous sign for the locals. It was a beautiful day here in Perth. Tonight is no different. It's a little harder than normal, the Wacker, but I guess between the Reds, the Eagles and the Dockers, it's had a busy year.
And here are the Reds on the attack, right on the Canberra 20. It comes out to Geyer. Geyer looks back inside. That's a hopeful pass, but it finds Chris Ryan, the man who gave the ball to Geyer in the first place.
Hand out of the face. No need for it. No need for it.
Against Hetherington. David Ferner prowling there as well. Smash over the top goes Hetherington, comes down with a forearm. Chris Ryan's been bleeding regularly in games lately. I think he's had stitches in 2 of the past 3 games. He'll be ducking and weaving.
Yeah, I think he's picked up the name Zipper over the last month. But there's a start that the Reds obviously would have been hoping for, and I guess a lot of people were very pleased in what they've seen. There's that face that's worn a few scars lately, but I don't think he'll be too upset by it.
A little like Jason Little, the rugby union player. Last week, Matthew Ridge, put the knee into Ryan as he went over the line for a try, and then a couple of weeks before that he was opened up in the World Club Challenge. And I was about to make the comparison to Jason Little, who had the pretty boy looks, the one that the modelling companies want to seek out, but lately they've been battered just a little.
I think probably Dean Lance's coach would have been exactly happy with what he saw in those last couple of minutes. Having a look at one of the big boys in the team, Mark Guy, getting the ball nice and early, getting into the action.
Now Damien Chapman, not an easy kick, a long way out, and it swings away, but he had plenty of length on it. That's gone very deep, so the length was not a problem. It's not quite on target. Now the Raiders, who have been down inside their own 20 from the kickoff. 3 minutes of play, they drop out from the 20 through Stewart. And it's picked up on the bounce by Robbie Kearns. He hurdles back at them. Prittis goes low. Just short of halfway. Now it's Fritz. Fritz originally named in the side at 5'8", but that was never going to happen. Darren Higgins, another victim of Matthew Ridge in scoring a try last week, forced out of the game tonight. And the Perth Reds were very, very angry when Matthew Ridge wasn't called before the judiciary, and they're made to answer for the allegations that he put the foot and the knee in as he tried to stop a try right on the goal line last week in the match against Auckland. Chapman kicks ahead. Evans is coming through quickly, but that's well taken by Nagus on the full in goal, and they race back up to the 20 for the tap.
Well, and they're in a hurry to get started, Canberra, and this is something that I suppose that Mal will be pretty happy about. His players know that they don't want the ball to be down this end of the field anymore. They've been under a little bit of pressure for 4 or 5 minutes. Now they know that they've got to make sure they control possession until the 5th tackle and then get a good clear and kick chase game going and make sure that all the action is at the opposite end.
There was a chill in the air as soon as the sun went down, but I'm sure these players are very rapidly warming up because it looks as if they've both come to play tonight. Pongia goes up the blind side. He tries to get away from Kearns. Nagus inside nicely, but well tackled. Coming across it was Fritz in defence, and he's winded. The kick ahead from Daly. You can hear the noise that Dale Fritz is making as he's trying to suck some air in. He's been badly winded, but he'll be all right in about 60 seconds. Over the sideline go the Reds. That was Geyer. Pulled over the sideline. There he is, balled over the sideline by Mullins.
That's almost arguable whether actually the tackle was made and he was forced on ground well into field and was actually dragged across the field after he had made contact with the paddock. But now that they're going to be able to attack, it's certainly going to take the best defence possible to keep Canberra away from scoring tries.
Nagus got away from Ryan, and Fullerby goes down the touchline. Kept in the field of play well on the first tackle. Now Stewart flicks it underneath his other arm for Furner, 10 metres out. Bit of a scrap on the ground between Fuller and Stewart. They get away from each other now. Hetherington unloads nicely. Daly quickly goes wide. It's out to Mullins. It's out to Kennedy, and Kennedy's in again. Unopposed this time. Not a hand on him. They well and truly outflanked the Perth Reds defence that time. Ben Kennedy racks up try number 14. Leading try scorer for the Raiders. And they did it like this. It was all started by a great pass from Hetherington.
Well, it was, and I think a couple of the Perth players probably got lulled into a false sense of security, thinking that once he was involved in the tackle, it was going to be play the ball, son, and away it came along. There was probably 2 or 3 players. Greg Fleming, I think, was the guy that almost turned his back on it, but they really did look like there were two or three players minor on that side of the field.
A lovely quick pass from Laurie Daly to get the ball wide as the defence tried to close him down. There it was. Rodwell came at Daly, but the ball was gone in a flash. And no way that Geyer could cut off Ben Kennedy.
Yeah, just reading the notes that I've got before it, there's probably something that I should have got out a little bit earlier with.
Here's David Furner, leading point scorer in the club, and he has just missed. Amazing, isn't it? The 2 second rowers are the leading point scorers in the club.
That's crazy. But I just wrote a little bit before the game that Perth's defence at Patton, I thought may have changed a little bit before the game. Being a former Raider himself, Dean Lance is obviously a slide defence fan, but I believe the best method against Canberra is the old up and in defensive pattern, the one that Canterbury used to play. I think you've got to cut down their time and space and really reduce the options they've got available.
Well, that was the way the Reds began the season. It was up and in, and it caused all sorts of havoc for opposition teams. Particularly, I remember Canterbury, a great win the Reds had over Canterbury in Perth. But as the season wore on with the loss of Rodney Howe, and maybe it takes a lot out of you, that up and in defence. Yeah. Stamina and the intensity every week.
I think that the real big strength, though, the way that Canberra attack, a lot of it is based around Ricky Stewart running across field with the ball. He's looking for either Ricky Stewart or Brett Mullins to come sliding on the inside and grab the ball. penalty coming Perth's way. This will give them a real opportunity to get down the other end of the field and perhaps put a little bit more of that constructive attack together. Some of it we saw in the first 5 or 6 minutes. But just getting back to Stewart running across field, it is a great problem for a defender when you see Stewart running across. Do you run up and tackle him, or do you hold off and wait for Daly to come in, or Mullins? It's something that you've got to be very certain of early in the piece.
And unload, and away they go with Geyer coming in from fullback. Good pace from Geyer. He's turning them inside out. He's got Lightning going the wrong way. Wiltshire with the ball now and only 18 metres out. On the back of the second penalty of the match going their way, the Reds. Rodwell out to Mark Geyer. He tries to stand in the tackle. Hetherington up on his shoulders, trying to ride into ground with Daly underneath. And a referee says to let him go, and the penalty, they've blown it. Tristan Brady-Smith on the first tackle, lost the ball. He wasn't going to score anyway.
Well, he played the advantage quite well there, referee Stephen Clark. He allowed Canberra to grab the ball, perhaps be able to run it away from the try line a little bit. Here comes the pass. It really looked like a fairly poor option to try and attack the short side. Admittedly, he did it quite, or very quickly, but when you're attacking with just one teammate up against 4 Raiders defenders, it doesn't give you a lot of chance to be able to beat them.
Now Clyde hasn't touched the ball yet in the game from memory. We've had 9 minutes of play. Perth have had most of the possession so far. Clyde really getting back to his best form last weekend. Now Prittis with a short, sharp dash.
Jared Miller is on for the Reds. Dale Fritz winded. He's sucking in the big ones on the sideline.
Looks like he'd be okay though, Andy.
Yeah, certainly does. Dale's just, as I said, sucking in the big ones, having a little bit of the magic water, and he'll be back out within the next couple.
It goes to Daly for the kick, and he gets it over the top of Matt Geyer. He'll go back to his goal line to take it. He wanted to come back to Brady-Smith. Brady-Smith did the wrong thing. He drifted infield. He didn't give him the option.
He didn't give him a lot of support there. That's something that you've really got to give to your teammates, especially when you're playing against a constructive defensive line like Canberra's. It's very difficult for one man to beat an 8-man kick-chasing team. You've got to be able to give him every little bit of support you possibly can to create doubt in the mind of the defender.
Now Brett Green hits it up. Tackle just outside the 30. Geyer. Mark Geyer this time. Now it's Chapman, but he's all by himself. Little darting run, but and the ball's gone loose, and away go the Raiders. Daly straightens it up, cuts through. Here they go with Nandruku. Great covering tackle from Fuller. The Raiders 30 metres out. Stewart goes wide to Hetherington. He's crunched by Jared Miller. Now Prittis. 20 metres out. Nagus to the left. It's Stewart cutting out Kennedy. Or Kennedy thought it was a cutout, but he should have taken it. He thought there was another runner. Bad pass. It was touched by Wiltshire. 6 more tackles. I don't know whether he played at it.
I don't know whether he did that at all.
I think Wiltshire just came around and the ball hit him rather than him hitting the ball. Referee Clark didn't see it that way. Fuller's down on the ground. The shorter defenders, but Mullins knocks it on, working the play.
Now that play there is one of Canberra's favourite plays. It is the old change the area of attack with the player coming back. Probably was taking a little bit of the force away when Kenny Nagus got through a little bit too quickly. It's to be advertised as though David Furner is going to feed Nagus, who's going to be hitting the ball up. They throw a face pass or a second man pass into Brett Mullins, who's aiming at into gaps where there's usually 2 or 3 tired defenders.
That Mullins play reminds me of the old Canterbury days of Greg Brentnell and Gary Dowling powering back up the middle on the return pass.
That was Dale, yeah, that was Dale Fritz with the ball. He's back on. Jared Miller having a spell. Also interesting to note, when the Perth Reds have the feed and loose head for the scrum, therefore the Canberra Raiders are defending. Laurie Daly is packing down his lock. Bradley Clyde moving to 5'8".
And Geyer gallops into the open. He's got support. He's going for dummy. No, he gives it to Rodwell. Rodwell for the line, and he's over. Rodwell scores a try. And what a sight it was to see Mark Geyer galloping downfield. Those long legs streaking, taking 10 metres at a pace, but Matthew Rodwell was there. to take the final pass.
And do you think the big fella's not happy? He's charged through. It was mentioned very early in the game. We thought that was one of the best chances that Perth had. They had to use their crunch players. He was one, and have a look at the man. He stepped back inside. It was Laurie Daly, and Laurie was doing it tough, trying to catch him himself. Rodwell was the man that gave him every opportunity to be able to catch and provide the support play. We may be able to get it from this angle here. Just watch the elation that's on the big bloke's face when he sees that the Perth Reds are just about to chalk up their first 4 points of the match.
Desperate attempt by Lightning to stop Rodwell as he got to the line. What about the dummy initially by Geyer, which that was important because that pulled the fullback out of the play. Otherwise, Daly had Geyer's number. He would have tackled him, and the fullback could have taken Rodwell.
Exactly right, Warren. I mean, it's something that the guys have got to be able to remember. For the young blokes watching the game, it is a skill that's got to be carried by every footballer. The choice of being able to throw a pass or throw a dummy. He timed it perfectly too. He threw the dummy when he was around about 4 or 5 metres short of the player, so that the defender had to make his mind up. Do I decide to take the attacking player, the support player, or the man with the ball?
Chapman right in front, puts Perth ahead. It's 6 points to 4, and the cans are rattling in the crowd. 14 minutes of play gone. 2-point lead to the home side.
Well, isn't it a great sight when you see the big bloke running with the football?
Good unload here by Evans, and then Kearns with a quick pass.
2 short passes, and also Rodwell was the one that tipped it on to Geyer himself. Here it is, he puts the ball into 2 hands. That was the one that created doubt in the mind of Ken Nagus at fullback. And gee, the big bloke running with a footballer, it must be a shocking sight for a fullback to see him running at you. Do you decide to tackle him? Maybe it is the best choice to take the dummy and let him score.
The other thing that was interesting there was the fact that Nandruku really had Geyer covered, but was so intent on sliding in defence that he went away from Geyer, hoping someone on the inside would pick him up. Now, Nandruku could have actually tackled Geyer. Geyer went straight through the hole. Well, an early scare for the Raiders here, and they will have watched Adelaide surprise Penrith last night, and Penrith capitulated. Early days yet in this game, though. Here's Daly out to Kennedy. Looking for Mullins, the pass behind him and over the sideline. Perth feed.
And just what the doctor ordered for the Reds. They're going to be able to maintain the pressure that's been currently put on them. The one-handed pass, well, if it had gone to hands, it really could have been an option for Canberra to possibly go into a very strong attacking position. But now their opponents are, and with them 2 points in front, a game to go, and in front of a great crowd, it's not the option you want to face.
Chapman gave it to Fleming, but it wasn't slick. Fleming went straight into the arms of the defender. Now it's Chapman, dumped on his back. They're inside the 30. Rodwell, Kearns, pulled it in nicely. Kennedy was coming up quickly on him. 25 out, centre field. Fritz recovering from the winding earlier on. Now it comes back to Rodwell. Geyer, he's the main man. Goes to Green, but he can't hang on to it. And away goes Ken Nagus on the counter-attack.
Well, that was a spoiled opportunity on that occasion. Geyer, of course, running with the football.
Evans is offside, inside the 10.
Yeah, it could have provided them. I'm sure that the Canberra defenders weren't all that keen on looking at the big bloke running. Confidence level sky high after the last chance. He put the ball infield a little bit, but unfortunately Brett Green just wasn't in the place to be able to grab the ball. If he had him, I think he could have chalked up at least another 4 points to the Reds' account.
A mistake made, but it was knocked down. Knocked down by Fuller.
What he was pretty fortunate on that occasion. Fuller not to be penalised for offside, I thought. He didn't look like he was anywhere near. Well, that he's not even sideways in front of the player. But I suppose that what he's denied Canberra is probably 20 or 30 metres from the penalty.
Chapman misses Daly and it opens it up for Lightning. Down the touchline he goes. Across comes Wilshere. Managed to knock him to ground. Daly got away from his opposite Damien Chapman that time. Going to be a handful, Laurie Daly against the littler man. Hetherington got the pass away again. He's unloading very well in tackles. Prentice was backing him up. They're only 10 out. Here come the Raiders. Stewart, Furner, Nadruku stepping, accelerating, looking, and he gives it to Kenny Nagas to finish it off. Noah Nadruku's try though, beautiful piece of work by him from 10 metres out, gave it away to Ken Nagas for the try, and Canberra take the lead once again.
Yeah, and given the opportunity to replay the defensive pattern on that occasion, I think we'll find Chris Ryan wouldn't have wanted it. Laurie Daly going across field. It must be a tough opportunity going across to tackle a bloke with the name of Lightning. You think, how am I going to get to that bloke? But as the ball came back across the field, you'll see Chris Ryan, number 3, came really sprinting out of the fence. There he is there to try and get up, trying to grab Furner. Probably would have been better advised to just hang back a little bit, allow the defensive pattern to remain in a straight line. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. It's probably been a little bit demoralising on the confidence level of the Reds.
Tristan Brady-Smith, the winger, went in trying to catch up with Nadruku, and that left the wing open after Ryan had gone up quickly. David Furner now, just with his first shot at goal. This is pretty good though. That's a beauty from out wide. The kickers in this Super League competition are just top-notch right across the board. It's almost improved 20% on a couple of years ago.
That's right. It's almost worth the price of admission alone to watch these blokes kicking. But there he goes there, sailing through the gap. Ryan and Brady-Smith, the one sprinting out of the line. I think they've got to try and remember that the most important thing that they've got to come up with at the moment is a little bit of conversation and defence. They've got to maintain that contact, because if they don't, the first thing that they're going to have in their mind is a little bit of doubt about where the defenders inside and out are sprinting, and there is no worse thing when you don't know or don't have confidence in the player inside and outside in the defensive line.
10 points to 6 in favour of Canberra midway through the first half. Evans takes the tackle, still driving ahead with Daly wrapping up the ball. The short of halfway. Against Daly.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Right out of the way, right? Go, come here. Come here.
Daly's saying to look at the big screen and see the replay.
Yeah, well, I think you'll see.
You've got a bit of a habit, I know. Trying to get the hand in there, or get your leg in there somehow, just to slow them up. I know what you're about, all right? Just get right out of the way, okay, and just get out of it, and there's no dramas.
I think Laurie, if he has a look at the big screen again, he might tend to put the hand over the eyes and admit that he may have been a little bit at fault.
Have another look at it here. Daly was desperate to get his version of events into the referees. He is, but he couldn't.
There's that arm, just making sure that he's got that knee underneath the elbow, which he does very well.
Sorry, Laurie, the referee was right. 20 metres out, and the Reds have scored, following on from penalties already in this match. It goes wide to Evans. He's sprinting nicely, causing a bit of trouble as Wayne Evans. He's had a strong end of the season. Played it back. Bad pass from Chapman in front of Fuller. Rodwell, lovely pass. Ryan to Guyer. Guyer, 1 minute he's in the centres, the next he's going up the middle. And they are looking to pass the ball to him. And know how dangerous he is. Fuller, bad pass. Straight to Hetherington, and Canberra turned defence into attack. At Fuller may have got a call from one of the Canberra players. He unloaded blind straight to them. Mullins got away from Fleming. That doesn't take much to just give him an inch, and he'll take a mile. Mullins.
Don't go. Don't go.
Against Chapman this time. Holding on in the tackle, not allowing him to play it once the tackle's completed. Perth won 4 of their first 7 games this season. They were in the top 5. I'd love to have known what they could have put together if they'd kept Rodney Howe, Julian O'Neill, and for that matter Mark Guyer on this field for the whole season. They were their 3 big guns in the early part of the year. Here's Priddis, high tackle from Evans, didn't hurt. Virtually let him go as he realised it was going high, just cuffed him on the back. Stewart quickly through the hands of Clyde to Mullins to Kennedy. Kennedy could go all the way again. He does. He beats 2 men on his way to the line. The Reds not marking up on that right-hand side for the second time. They had the numbers, the Raiders, and they went through the short, sharp pass, just pulling that defence in close. opened it up for Kennedy, and he sprints down the sideline for the try.
Well, have a look at the weight of numbers here. I mean, they can't expect to be able to match up against Canberra when they've got 3 or possibly 4 men short. They're doing pretty good work when you're getting blokes like Brett Green at front row cover defending, but they had at least 3 or 4 men over on that stage, but it's quite smartly they do it every time. They make sure that when they do it to the left-hand side of the field, which is the preferred passing side of the football field, and they don't try and throw cut-out passes or real flash lengthy passes. They're simply getting man for man and taking them out of play, and I'm sure that's probably what Mark Guy is trying to remind his players at the moment, that they learn to count without trying to be disrespectful to them. The simple thing about reading a game is, where weight of numbers is, that's where you've got to try and make sure your attacking mode is relied upon.
Now Ferner missed from this side of the field with his first attempted conversion. How will he go this time? He's learned his lesson. That's a beauty from Ferner. Again, it's from out wide. Great kicking, David Ferner. Canberra leads 16 points to 6. Canberra didn't make the mistake of throwing the long pass, which you sometimes do when you know you've got the overlap. They went through the short, sharp passes. That held the defence in.
And just shows how expensive one drop pass can be. Just 90 seconds ago, as a kick that's just a little bit too strong is carried across the field. A penalty coming up to the Reds. This will give them the opportunity to be able to turn things around.
And 2 replacements, one for either side. Corin Ridding has gone into the engine room. He replaces Brett Green. Jason Croker on for Quinton Pongia.
By the Reds winning the battle of the penalties at the moment. Penalties going their way 5-2. Corin Ridding quickly into the action, coming off the sideline from the bench. Chapman to Kearns. He's hit hard. He got it away. Fuller sends it to Rodwell to Ryan. He's got Geyer with him. Nadruka's got hold of Geyer. Rodwell to Ridding, and it's been stolen.
Two in there. Fred Hedrington and Dave Ferner.
Ferner ran away with it. 2 men in the tackle, and another penalty goes to the Reds. Now, will they go for the try here?
I think what they've got to try and do with this, well, there it is. I don't think there was any doubt that there was the 2 players in there. No argument from the Canberra players.
So I think Ferner had the ball half stolen before Hetherington came in.
What they've got to try and do, I think, Warren, is try and stretch the Canberra defence as far across the football field as they possibly can. Playing a slide defence, it's fairly easy just to cover around about 60%. But if they can get their attack right across the field and try and do what we saw Mark Guy come up with a little bit early, running at players, trying to tip them inside or outside, that is the thing that's hardest to cover against while you're defending.
Both teams have got wide running second rowers. Evans was looking for that on the far right. Slow pass behind Fitz, held him up, comes out to Matt Geyer. He gets it back nicely to Ryan. Chris Ryan looking a little too much for Mark Geyer. Got to have a bit of a go at it himself. Is Matt Geyer, 5 metres out. Deep in the in goal is Royston Lightning waiting for the kick, but Rodwell stab kicks it for himself instead. And the Raiders have it.
Well, don't you wish every time he went fishing it went down the fish's throat like that kick went straight down.
Nagas breaks away from the 20 up to the 30.
Well, look at that. I mean, they had the opportunity to be able to grab a try just seconds ago. One loose tackle and a little bit of luck has given them the option now of getting right out of their territory. Very important now that the Reds try and make sure that they've got contact in defence and put pressure on Ricky Stewart when he runs the ball.
Line breaks 3-1 to the Raiders. That's not surprising. The brilliance of their attack. Perth have been solid in this area of the field in defence. It's inside their own 20 that they've been outflanked. Kick ahead. Matt Guy will need to hurry. Here comes Fulavai and Andruku. Oh, he gets away from them. Great work. Oh, close to the sideline, over it. Great work. Turns into a horrible mistake. Not for the first time in the last few weeks, Guy has got over the sideline.
No, that's right. Well, he's been having a little bit of a problem with that, but gee, it's a tough decision to make, isn't it? I mean, you're showing all forms of desperation to be able to get out of there. It looked like he did quite well, but I think you've got to pay a little bit of credit too to the defenders. who aren't just tackling around the legs, they're making sure that they grab them around about the waist and then throw themselves to the side so they get a little bit of inertia. The rolling form comes on where they're able to throw them.
Well, Raiders are 100 to 1 on to score a try in this set of 6 from 10 metres out. It's Nagus.
I'll have $1.
12 metres out. Daly gets it back to Nagus. Hetherington now. Ready to pass it, he lost it. We just lost $1. Oh, and Rich. Wilshere takes it forward. Hetherington trying that time too hard to unload the pass. Earlier in the game, he's got a couple of beauties away which led to tries.
Now, they're 2 good rucks. That's what the Reds have got to try and come up with.
Come on, no. Ready. Rick.
Simon Wilford.
Right. All you do is get up and get away, all right? I don't want slow play the balls, all right? You let them get up, okay? Get them up.
He was doing his best, but not quite good enough for the referee. I think that he was probably trying to do his best, but the guy that really has grabbed the penalty is the guy that's playing the ball. He tried to get up twice as quick as he probably normally would. He put pressure on the defender and also the referee as well. But they had 2 rucks prior to that, were the ones that probably earned that penalty. Both rucks gained around about 12 or 13 metres.
It was Corin Riddick who got the penalty, and here he is again. He's been very busy since coming onto the field. Kearns running hard, lovely pass away. Left behind though by Miller. Went back. Lucky to retain possession, but they're 20 metres out, the Reds. Quick pass from Rodwell now goes to Fleming. Fleming has a chance. Couldn't get it away to Wilshere. He's lost it.
Mullins, the man pulling the ball up there, and really has saved a desperate situation.
And there's injury problems for the Canberra Raiders. Ben Kennedy rushed straight off the field. Luke Critters is back in. You obviously know Simon Wilford's onto the field. And Quinton Pongia has just swapped with Brett Hetherington. For the Reds, Jared Miller is on for Dale Fritz. But there is some concern over Kennedy. It seems to be his right arm that he's had trouble with before.
Well, that is very bad. Like, he's already scored 2 tries in the match. And he's only 1 behind the leading try scorers in the competition now. But holding that arm, and that could be a terrible blow for their semi-finals. Top try scorers are Matthew Ryan and Hazem El Masri.
And there's a big stink on. Ricky Stewart, one of the guys in the fight, probably having
There's Mark Guy on top of him.
You're just stay away, you're right.
No, MG's standing up.
No, he was down there a moment ago. It's been pulled out, but it's continued.
Mark, get away. Mark, just get away. Get away,
It's Miller and Stewart on the ground now.
I just want Ricky Stewart, this fella here. Do anyone else that won't go away?
Jared Miller and Ricky Stewart.
All right, fella, it all started, you come through way too late. You come way too late and took him out after he went down. Just what? Okay. So, okay. All right, fellas, I don't like the way that you just kept on going and going and going. If you want to do that, you can do it off the field. And I'm not talking about sin bins. You can just get it off the field totally, right? Okay, take that as a warning. Cut the rubbish out. It's a penalty back up here. You're taking him out late. Where the ball landed.
Against Jared Miller from Perth. Here it is. Well, lifting elbow too.
I don't think there was any doubt over that one, was there? It seemed to have taken him out probably a metre or 2 later than he should have.
Ricky Stewart's probably not the guy you want to pick tonight. He does have a few other things on his mind. His wife, Kaylee, back in the nation's capital, is expecting to give birth to their first child today.
Well, I think he'll be on the red-eye back tonight, won't he? 9 of the Canberra players, or 8, already have had babies this year, their wives at least. And now Canberra give the ball away. Burner pushing and shoving with Riddick.
Back off Canberra and knock on by the Reds.
Well, it's going to be Canberra's feed.
Off the Reds. It's a Canberra feed loose.
It looked like the man that went to pick the ball up for the Reds. I'm not sure whether it was Guy, the man that went to pick the ball up, just got a slight knock on just before he got to be able to take the ball off the ground. This is terrible. It's given them an extra 3 tackles to be able to play with at this end of the field.
Stewart has it from the scrum. They've got 5 tackles and they're 10 metres out, the Raiders. Croker. They sprint up off the line. Guy is after Stewart and he got him.
Good evening.
What a contest. Guy was after him. Daly for Nagus. Nagus going for the line.
Oh, they're grossly short on this side of the field.
Trying to cover it up late.
You're a foot in the way. Get away, Mark.
Someone could well have been in the sin bin there. Burner away to Nandruku. He steps off the right foot. They cut him down.
Great tackle from Guy, right round the ankles.
Wolford, Stewart, ducks away from 2, away from 3. Couldn't finally evade them. Wolford dummy half again. The Reds spreading better. Daly cuts through and gives it away to Prentice for the try. Daly turned on the pace. They had it covered out wide this time, but Daly went through the opening. The fact is they spread. There was a little bit more room between the defenders and Daly took them on.
Yeah, there was a couple of defenders that really sprinted out of the line. Matthew Rodwell was one of them that came out. We've got the referee giving a little bit of a rap over the knuckles to a couple of them. Guy came out with that hit before. That's the one that really gave a little bit of strength to the Perth defence. But there was the guy that came out of the line. Matthew Rodwell was the one that sprinted up a little bit too quickly for the man inside him. Gave the opportunity for one of the best players in the game to simply get in behind, load a ball, drop it into thin air. And there was ample defenders coming through from Canberra. It was just a matter of who was going to score it.
I hate to interject, fellas, but a lot more bad news. Laurie Daly on the sideline as David Ferner lines up and they're checking his right knee. He is in a bit of pain too.
Well, the kick from Ferner swings away, unsuccessful this time, and that wasn't all that hard. There's Daly doing the knee check. They lead by 20 points to 6, but the injury toll could be collapsing all around them here.
Yeah, well, I think if I'd be Mel Meninga, the first thing you'd be doing at the moment is saying, look, get off and stay off. Don't put yourself at any risk. We can use you as an interchange player. We might just decide to get you back on for the fellow that's replaced you 5 minutes before the end of the game. As long as you're used as an interchange player, that's fine. You're not a total replacement. But the semi-finals coming up, they can't afford to risk losing their best player and risk losing him for the entire series.
Well, Wally, they've just lost one of their best players. Ben Kennedy, it's been confirmed, has broken his arm. He is out.
That is an absolute tragedy.
What were we talking before the game about injuries?
Kennedy broke his arm at the end of last year, if memory serves me right, and had a late start to this season. Kick ahead from Rodwell, picked up on the bounce by Brady Smith, play on. Out it goes to Matt Geyer. Brady Smith didn't really need to throw that pass. He may have been worried he could put over the sideline. Up it goes from Chapman on the last. It's very high into the in-goal area, too far, and Nagus takes it well.
No, he didn't play it.
Back to the 20, and it's Nagus who's up there to run onto the pass. And great work by Ken Nagus. Wolford quickly out to Pongia. Back inside Foulabai. Nandruku. Geyer comes in all over the top of them. That's Lightning across from the wing. They've been rugged in defence, the Reds. They're fired up. Let's hope Mark Geyer keeps his arms down in his enthusiasm. Burner. Back it comes to Pongia. Pongia's starting to get more involved now. Stewart. To Croker. Tries to get away from Chapman. He gives it out the back to Clyde. Clyde to Wolford. He's got support. They overrun him now. Probably should have passed earlier. Clyde again. Last tackle coming up. They're 20 metres out. Geyer's off the field for a break. The kick ahead from Stewart, looking for Lightning. Back there is Wiltshire, but it's cleared them both.
The best thing that we can see for the Reds at the moment is for them to just take their time. Now, Canberra have certainly put their pedal to the metal. They've decided they want to play the game as quick as they possibly can. Perth aren't going to be able to match them for that department. They've got to be able to settle down, make sure that they don't come up with any mistakes, simply play and take those sort of options and dangers when they get to the other end of the field. But while they're up this end, make sure that they do everything correctly.
Well, the good news for the Raiders is Laurie Daly has gone back onto the field. Bradley Clyde now having a spell.
Is Fleming running onto the Rodwell pass and broke away from one tackle. 35 out. Slow play the ball though, holds them up. Chapman goes back to the blind side. It's Matt Geyer waiting there. No fullback there at the moment as Fuller kicks through and it's taken by Lightning.
Yeah, well, that's a very poor option as Lightning charges into the open.
Stepping away from all of it.
Well, it really is a poor option. He had the opportunity, Rodwell, of being able to put the ball in the air and put enormous pressure on their opponents. Now they're struggling to stay in the game.
Nandruku, there's nobody in front of him. He races away from Brett Green. He's got no chance. Brady Smith closes him down right on the line. But Noah Nandruku has broken them open near the halfway line and sprinted 50 metres with nobody in front. I mentioned a moment ago that Matt Geyer has been getting up in the front line. He was not at home as they broke through here. There he is on the inside. That was Evans, in fact. There's no fullback at all. Once Nandruku went through, it was try time.
Well, you know, given options again, but unfortunately that can't happen. Outstanding work on that occasion. You really got to pay credit to some of the guys that don't get a lot or enough credit in the game. David Ferner was the guy that opened the opportunity for that try to be scored. He threw a dummy on the inside, probably created a little bit of doubt and laziness in the mind of one of the defenders coming up, dropped the ball into the hole, and that was the end of it. But getting back to that point, of course, they had the option of being able to put the ball up for a bomb, where they had the Canberra fullback Kenny Nagus wasn't really in a position to be able to get back and cover it from a huge bomb. Unfortunately, it was a very poor kick that grubbed it along the ground, to which Canberra were able to score within 3 tackles.
Burner, and he puts it through. Canberra well on top in this game. Once they get possession in the opposition half, they're turning it into 4 points. 26-6.
Well, there's a dummy on the inside. Ferner dropping it into a hole. And really, when you haven't got a fullback that's going to be able to cover for you in situations like that, particularly when you've got to be able to aim up against a bloke like Noah Nandruku, it's a poor form.
Stewart's kick goes down the middle this time. He makes no mistake. Didn't go out near the sideline where he made the error before.
You know, it's a funny thing. I mean, if it was a 5-tackle game, we'd probably find the Reds in this match at the moment. They are just simply screwing up 1 tackle every chance that they get out of a set of 6, and that's the one that's really spoiling it. They're losing probably 70 or 80 metres.
Chapman to Rodwell. Fleming allowed to run. It's knocked forward by Lightning.
Forward.
Holding off Fleming.
I've got to admit, he's been the guy that really has appeared to be the attacking light for the Reds on the right-hand side of the field, playing right centre. Every time he's got the chance to be able to get there,
we're going to have it, fellas.
Making it a little bit difficult for Brett Mullins. I don't think Mullins has probably got all that much experience playing at left centre.
The kick ahead from the scrum win by Chapman. Nagus makes it well, though. Ken Nagus right on half-time. Took it beautifully. He was awake to it, and he had the pace to get back and cover, even though he was up flat. In fact, I'm just wondering who was standing where from that scrum. Nagus started the game at fullback, but still is playing fullback at the moment for the Raiders. The end of a very enthusiastic first half by both teams. There by Matt Geyer. And the football manager from the Perth Reds, Steve Rogers, joins us. Steve, the defence opened up. First of all, they seem to be short in numbers on the wide right-hand side, but then they were starting to be opened up through the middle. How are you going to stop that flow?
Well, basically, Dean was not very complimentary about exactly what you've been talking about the poor defence at half-time, and he's asked them to be far more aggressive defensively and attack the football and try and shut it down, stop the back doors and stop the second phase stuff.
Sludge, speed off the ground really is something you've got to control with Canberra. You can't let them play at their own speed.
No, exactly. That's exactly what we have been doing. We've been allowing them quick play the ball. We've been going backwards there. getting us on the back foot, and it's you know, you just can't recover from that against a side like Canberra.
It's a situation, though, you've got to be pretty happy with what you've seen. 5 tackles probably out of every 6 against Canberra, but it really has been that one tackle, unfortunately, that's costing you probably 50 and 60 metres.
Yeah, exactly. We, you know, our stats at half-time showed we'd missed 23 tackles, and you know, if you're going to miss 23 tackles against a side like Canberra, you know, you're going to get beat by a cricket score.
And Steve, just quickly, anything else from Dean at half-time?
There was a lot, but I can't repeat it here.
Okay, thanks for joining us tonight and right through the season.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.
Steve Rogers, football manager from the Perth Reds. The Reds will finish their season tonight, their 3rd season in the big league, and comparisons being made really pretty favourably. You look at Canberra when they came in 1982, it took a while for them to find a side that could really worry opposition teams, and it wasn't long before they were playing grand finals. And the Reds have done well in their first couple of years. Well,
one very important point that we were speaking about before the game, Warren, of course, the Perth Reds, their reserve grade team, is sitting in 2nd position, which is an outstanding point for them.
And their under-19s and their under-17s did well earlier. Now, bomb for Guy, and he can't hang on to it. In front of the kicker. Brad Clyde just in front of the kicker of the bomb. And Craig Bellamy, assistant coach of the Canberra Raiders, joins us. Craig, firstly, the news on Ben Kennedy.
It doesn't look good at this stage, Warren. The doctor thinks that he probably has broken his arm, and obviously Benny's had it before, so he knows the furling, and he's pretty disappointed at this stage.
Mal Meninga happy with the first half?
Yeah, we were very happy. Like, we knew that the Reds were going to be very competitive and we fired up in that first 20 minutes, but you know, we were very composed, and you know, like our pace and skill sort of told out in a couple of tries, so we were very happy to go into 26-6.
When times looked a little bit tough in that first period, it really was the big name players that got you out of a couple of tough times, Laurie Daly in particular.
Yeah, he's had a great game, Laurie, and Clyde and Stick all played really well for us, actually. Yeah, so the other players have been great tonight.
All right, Craig, thanks for joining us.
No worries, thanks a lot.
Craig Bellamy from the Raiders. We saw Fleming nearly get away down the left-hand side. Now the bomb from Chapman, and Mullins didn't seem to make much of an effort. Play on was the call from the referee. I thought the Raiders disputing it.
Whitey, can you just have a look to see if that guy was off, if it came off a Perth guy, and if he was, if he was in front?
Worth a try, but Mark, you might as well wait now. Matt Geyer strolled over for the try, but even he didn't seem convinced that it was going to be allowed. Let's take a look at it.
No, the ball going up here, they all look like they were onside pretty well. I think the arguable point that the Canberra guys are trying to bring up at the moment, did it come off a Perth Reds player and then actually bounce forward onto another? Well, gee, I don't know.
Or did it just bounce?
Well, on that replay, it really does look like as if the ball has just bounced forward.
They're saying, maybe saying it touched 52, John Wilshire, before it went to Geyer.
The guy that looked like if he's got any contact in the ball is number 15 himself, Matthew Geyer. He was the guy that looked like if the ball made any sort of contact, it was off his left hand as the ball was coming down. The other player looked to be a little bit too far away. But I've been proved wrong before.
No try is the decision from Chris Ward. I just thought that maybe it came back.
Well, he's called there, stay behind. So that to me, perhaps, unless he's got a different indication, but stay behind is normally the expectation is that that's what the video replay would have said, that the players were in front.
Well,
otherwise,
I just felt that
to be offside.
It might have been Geyer touched it initially, but then I think it went back and may have just touched Wilshire in the headgear and then come forward again to Geyer. Let's take another look. Missed there, and it hit his legs and then came forward
as it's come off his legs
to Geyer. In fact, that might have been a good angle to show the video ref. He might have felt more confident. No try was the correct decision, and I think if I was a video ref, I wouldn't have given it a try, just because of the reaction of that guy. He didn't seem convinced he'd scored. Now Rodwell goes out to Chapman. Ryan juggles it. 26-6 the score. Remembering that if Canberra win, they will maintain third place behind Cronulla. But if they lose, which is unlikely now, and Canterbury beat Brisbane, the Raiders would fall back into 4th place and be out of that top 3. Perth, on the other hand, playing really to gather either 6th place or 8th place for the season. Rodwell switches play, goes to Chapman. Now Geyer kicks for himself, but got through the arms of Nagas. He dived back. Geyer screaming at the referee for some reason or other.
Well, MG calling that he knocked the ball on. I don't know whether the ball went all that far in the direction of the other try line, but obviously he's a little bit upset that a couple of their moves haven't come their way.
Prittis' pass back for Pongia was chopped down. Here's the incident. Well, it wasn't knocked on.
I don't think Mark could be... he was probably, I guess, a little bit disappointed. The kick didn't exactly go where he had it planned originally, but now that they've got the loosened feet from their scrum, I guess his temper's eased a little bit, and he probably would give himself a fair chance of being able to help construct a 4-pointer.
As Ryan attacks for Perth, Canberra lost possession as Prittis tried to get a pass to Pongia. Didn't come off for them. Now it's Chapman inside, well, Matt Geyer. And they've stripped it again.
2 in the tackle, 2 in the tackle. He lost it. He lost it. No, he lost it.
Well, he kicked it.
He kicked it. Canberra feet loose.
He kicked the ball. Well, unless...
Well, he can't have because Mark Geyer stopped blowing up, so he must think he lost it too.
Well,
but I would have thought
we'll
that's
get it
fair
on the
enough.
replay, but it really looked like the player tried to take a quick tap and kick the ball forward. To me, if anything, the penalty would have gone against Canberra for being inside the 10 metres.
I'll tell you one thing, though. Canberra have obviously gone out there intent on stripping the ball. They've stripped it out of the Perth arms 4 or 5 times. Let's take a look at this tap.
Well, he kicked the ball. There's no way in the world he's dropped that at all. Well, tell you what, 6 cuts at the headmaster's office on Monday morning coming up.
As I said, why didn't Mark Geyer blow up? It would be in character for him to have been doing a war dance in front of the referee. Here's Canberra shooting it wide to the right.
Knocked on. Come here. Red's feet loose.
Knocked on by Nandruku. It's a scrappy period of play here.
Well, that should have been a penalty to the Perth Reds, around about 3 metres out from the try line, for the player that made the tackle on the big fella being inside the 10 metres after the ball was kicked. Eyes being taken off the ball on that occasion from Pulabai.
In the end, he was the one who knocked it on. I'm not too sure that the pass from Nandruku was a good one either. Now Rodwell switches it to Chapman. Dummies to 2 players. Gets it out to Matt Geyer. The defence read it very nicely. Nandruku and Furner had it covered. Now Kearns out the back to Green. Taken by Croker. Rodwell. Back to Matt Geyer on the fly. Nice work inside to Ryan. One more pass, it's play on, but it's off Rodwell's knees dead.
Well, that was some enterprising attacking play, wasn't it? Unfortunately, the ball was being kneed with a little bit too much force. Ryan getting on the inside very well. Rodwell's kicking game again. I don't think we can blame him too much for that. It was interesting to see just how that they decided to take on the Raiders' slide defence, and it really did look like that it worked quite well. I think we'll see that coming about a fair bit. Point that's really opened my eyes up in the last 5 or so minutes is that Chapman really has started to stand himself around about the halfback role a little bit more than in the first half, shifting Rodwell out to 5'8". From there, of course, we bragged a little bit before about seeing Chapman play here a few weeks ago where he was on the field for about 17 minutes, and I thought that he was a player of the match.
Lovely pass from Daly to Furner. Back it comes now to Hetherington. Pongia hits it on the burst. Good run from Pongia. Over the top, over the head, back to Prittis. Prittis is 20 metres out. Good football from the Raiders, getting back into the groove now. Yet again lost. Just as they get some momentum. Handling errors, 8 by both teams, 8 apiece.
Well, I think that he can probably agree after watching the video that the ball was given a little bit of assistance in being pushed out of his grip. But after the mistake that came 5 minutes earlier, I don't think that you can probably push too much of the finger towards the referee on that occasion. It really does seem 1-1.
Rodwell goes out to Fleming. Laurie Daly up there in defence. Daly with his right knee strapped now, but the fact he's playing the second half means he must be okay.
Well, I suppose it does, but Warren, I really would thought Mal may have been better advised, unless it's just a little bit of a bump he's got there as a kick goes across the line to force a scrum deep inside Canberra's territory. But it really does look like that he has a little bit of pride on board, Laurie, and wants to finish the game, as most players do once they take the field. But when you're playing with a dodgy situation, a dicky knee as they call them, you really can't afford to do that with a guy that is probably the real attacking power of the Raiders' backline.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to lose him for the semi-finals next week. The Raiders should be in the top 3, which means that they get 2 chances should they lose the first game, which will be against Cronulla. They'll get another chance, but nevertheless, you want your top men available and firing next week. Here's Stewart for Hetherington. But I suppose the fact is that the Raiders have really just got into good form the last couple of weeks, and Mal Meninga probably wants 80 minutes of it here so that they can capitalise right on it. Here's Wilshere. Just came forward from Dale Fritz's hands onto Wilshere. I think it was Fritz who got a hand in there.
It didn't go all that far forward neither. Probably just
Ryan.
half a metre of Ryan. But I've got to say, he's lucky that he did get some contact with the ball, because if he didn't, we'd just be seeing one of their backs running back after scoring. It's a certainty.
Mullins joins in, and he almost gave himself up for a shepherd there.
Guilty, Your Honour. Finger was in the pie.
Excuse me, Nandruka had gone in front of him. Now Ferner. Croker. Haven't quite worked out what position Croker is playing, having come on. Somewhere in the forwards. Nagus. Nagus is away. In front of him is Geyer. Nagus still going. Geyer knocked him down. Matt Geyer, the fullback, that is. Now it's Daly quickly there. Can't get away from Evans' diving tackle. Probably should have passed it a little earlier. On the last tackle. Put across field by Stewart. But here that Brett Mullins is giving the touch judge a mouthful, saying that he wasn't in front of the kicker.
I think he said, "Oh darn, I don't believe you." There have been other adjectives used on that occasion, but the touch judge was the one that called him as to being in front. It would be difficult to judge on that occasion.
I think that another one of the Canberra players who was running through actually backed off, having got the call that he was offside as well. They've been a let-off for the Reds.
Warren, I'll get your opinion on something. With Rodney Howe out of contention as far as an Australian jersey goes.
Just hang on for a sec, Andy. High tackle from Hetherington. You were saying?
Yeah, with Rodney Howe out of contention as far as an Australian jersey goes, Glenn Lazarus likewise. Robbie Kearns' name has been mentioned by a lot of scribes around the country, and really tonight he hasn't done his chances any harm.
He's played very strongly from the moment, all season, but particularly once Howe wasn't around. There's the tackle from Hetherington, which was high.
It bounced off up off the chest of the ball, and the hand was open. The fist wasn't clenched, so I don't think there was any intention.
Now Fleming on the burst, and Robbie Kearns did make the tri-series representative side, so he's got to be up there in contention for further representative honours at the end of the year. Fuller goes left to Rodwell. He goes inside to Matt Geyer. Good defence though from Canberra. Coming across from the inside, it was Hetherington. Now Chapman. Mark Geyer. Taken by Clyde. Back to Chapman. Chapman does well to Ryan, to Wilshere. Bounces away from Ricky Stewart. He's still going. He's very close. Mullins just got to him with Stewart, who came again. Chapman.
6 to go.
Rodwell We've got the numbers here. Pass was forward, surely. Brady Smith stepping his way to the line. He's got it down on the line. Stephen Clark awards the try. I don't know about the pass, but Brady Smith did well. He had a lot of work to do from 5 metres out. Had 2 or 3 men coming across in cover, and he managed to get to the strike.
All right, I tell you what, Brady Smith scored the try, but there's got to be a huge amount of credit goes to the opposite winger, Johnny Wilshere. Have a look at the strength he displays and the skill. He almost got through. He had 3 players hanging off him, 3 fairly handy players as well. They were Mullins and Ricky Stewart, 2 of them, and simple weight of numbers getting the ball across. Pretty sensible on no real wide cutout passes until the last one. Really, I think it was be something Mal might speak about, that last effort of defence. Probably thought that they could have got to him 2-on-1.
Brady Smith, Andruku tries to stop him. He bounces on the line. It wasn't a double movement. It was all momentum. Second try of the year. The young man from Tully, spent some time at Caboolture in Queensland, coming out of the under-19s from Perth. He and John Wilshere, both young players with plenty of talent. Wilshere just 19 years old. 2 of the very promising signs for the Perth Reds in the last couple of months of the competition, the young guys coming through. Wayne Evans is only 22, has been playing strongly. Jared Miller. Damien Chapman lining this kick up. He is one of the players who's been told that his contract will not be extended to next year. He and Greg Fleming, 2 of the players on the field in this game, who apparently aren't wanted for 1998. Chapman from out wide is not going to kick that goal. That's a long way from the posts, unlike his earlier kick in the game, which was an absolute beauty. But it's 26 points to 10 to Canberra. 16 points the difference. Still plenty of time in the game.
They were pretty much stretched on this occasion, weren't they, Warren? It was just a case of being able to cover around about 40 metres of territory with just 3 or 4 defenders.
Still don't like the look of that pass from Matt Geyer out to the wing, even though you can allow a little bit of float on it because it was a long pass. You could see it went across the 10-metre line.
Perth coach Dean Lance using the interchange to its fullest. Corin Ridding and Jared Miller are on. Brett Green and Dale Fritz are having a rest.
Brad Clyde now thunders up 10 metres short of halfway. Second half has been a stop-start affair. It's unfortunate because the first half was a ripper, even though Canberra were leading convincingly. Here's Daly getting away from Chapman. He gets it out to Mullins. Mullins streaks over the halfway, puts the pedal to the metal, kicks ahead. 2 players racing through. Lightning dives for it. That's a try. Royston Lightning collects another one. He's having a tremendous season. Coming out of nowhere at the beginning of the year. Grabbed the wing spot after they tried another couple of players. And he is a goer. It's 30 points to 10 to the Raiders.
Yeah, and the Reds just forgetting once Laurie Daly's running across field, you can't afford to go up too quickly, as we saw Ryan on that occasion. Daly simply getting in behind, lobbing the ball round. This is a first-class try, though, realising that it's a tough decision to make. The ball being dropped onto the boot by Mullins, and it was just a case of who was going to score the ball, or would the ball beat them to the dead ball line. Simple speed got them there. But once again, that left-hand side, when the Raiders attack to it, that's the strength or the real sluggish area for the Reds in their defence.
What a brilliant kick from Mullins on the fly to judge it so well. Lightning finishes it off. Daly started it all. Wilshere went in on Daly, tried to cut him down. That left the wing open. And David Furner, just a few metres in from the touchline. 3 from 5 so far. He brings it back nicely. And it's a great kick from Furner. Makes it 4 from 6, so he's right up there with his 68% for the season. 32 to 10 to Canberra. So they have just slightly improved on the score between the teams back in round 9.
The referee asking, that was all right, wasn't it? I think there wasn't too many people that would begrudge that try. It was certainly a very good one. Now the Reds have got to be able to get up. An interesting break here from one of the Kangaroo Tours. Real bonus players. Well, I better not say Kangaroo Tour. The Super League Tour's possible front rowers and Robbie Kearns.
Great work, and Chapman was there to back up. Now here comes Geyer, but he's run into Nagus, and he makes an effective tackle on the big man.
Kenny Nagus, hand off it, mate. That's right, he's on the
Well,
mark.
played on, the referee had his back to them, and away they go. It's Rodwell, 15 metres out. He backed himself, he had men outside. It's a 50-50 option. Now it's Corin Redding, 8 metres out. Redding and Pongia standing toe-to-toe as Kearns goes straight through them. Rodney Kearns, he started it, went from one end of the field up to the 50. Now he scores in the same set of 6 down underneath the posts.
And Rodney, you've booked yourself into the books.
The Andy Raymond, you're a genius.
Talking about you in that front row position to go away in the tour. Here's the first one that started. Have a look at the footwork. I can't remember Sammy Bacco using side steps like that too often.
He went through Prentice and Hetherington. Ricky Stewart in cover had his hands full.
Oh, nice offload too. He did extremely well on that occasion. Have a look at that. He's got his team 59 metres on that occasion. Just 2 or 3 tackles later, a quick shift of the ball. There wasn't too much wrong with Canberra's defence on that occasion. Ricky Stewart was possibly the player that went up a little bit too quickly. Been talking about how the Reds have been moving up too fast in difficult situations like that. And once again, he displayed a very neat a little bit of footwork that got him into open spaces. And he is a guy that I think that those selectors will be talking about in a couple of weeks' time, Warren.
Robbie Kearns, great try, 25 years old, started off at Engadine, played for Cronulla for 10 years, joined the Reds last year. Chapman makes no mistake with this, 2 tries in a row to the Reds. They've bridged the gap, it's 32-16, back to a 16-point deficit. 19 minutes to go. Let's take a look at the angle that Kearns runs here. Comes back off Rodwell in between Stewart and Ferner. They barely got a hand on it.
Yeah, well, I mentioned the name of Ricky Stewart there. I think the bloke Mal will be talking to and watching the video replay of that will be David Ferner on slide defence. It's the inside the front defender that's got all the responsibility.
Now, Pongia returns serve and breaks downfield. He goes to Fullerby, he's away. Backup comes from Wolford. And the Raiders have escaped their own 20 where they should be. Instead, they're attacking 40 metres out.
And it's a front row, it's a tackathon from kickoffs here. But I tell you what, it's wonderful to watch. It just shows those players that they're not there just to hit up their hard yards in the middle to gain 5 and 6 metres.
Just as the Reds were getting back into it, they let the Raiders escape, and now it comes Hetherington, Mullen, pass goes loose.
Gotta wait till we get the ball.
Jared Miller tackled a man before the pass arrived.
Warren Simon Wolford's gone on, and Luke Prentice has come off. He's seen his last action for the night. Jason Burnham just going on for Brett Hetherington, and Todd Payton in jersey number 19. And I tell you what, only a young boy, but there's plenty of him. I reckon Waller, you and I could all fit into his shorts.
You wouldn't want to, though, would you?
He's a big unit, but he is one of the real stars of tomorrow. He's got plenty of raps on him too. There haven't been too many headlines allowed on him so far. I've got to certainly look after him and not put too much pressure too soon. But gee, you have a look at the size of the bloke, and he really does appear as though he could be a real champion.
It goes against the Reds. Simon Wolford dummied to tap twice. The Reds moved off the line early. Now the Raiders are only a couple of metres out. There's Burnham. Raiders didn't take the 2 points on offer. They are going for the 6. Daly comes back inside. There's plenty of defence there, but that means there's space elsewhere. They managed to close him down. Stewart. It's a Croker trying to spin. Stewart goes to the right-hand side, calls for it again. He goes wide. It's a bad pass, but Fleming can't take the intercept. We'll come back to the Raiders.
Well, gee, it was a shocking pass, but it's turned out to be a real bonus for Canberra. I think Ricky went to throw a real wide one, probably got held up a little bit in seeing that there was a couple of the Reds defenders sprinting out of the line, tried to pull it up a little bit.
And a change for the Reds. Robbie Kearns is onto the sideline. Brett Green replacing him.
Another chance for the Green Machine. Daly takes them on himself. He's still alive. He gets the pass back to Clyde. And he unloads nicely to Mullins. The 3 big guns involved. Pass goes loose, but it's picked up by Croker. He's losing ground. 20 metres out. Something went on in that tackle. The crowd are roaring. Burnham burrows ahead. in centre field. Now Wolford can't get away. Marcus got hold of him. Stewart puts them on the attack once more. Clyde well tackled. High and low by Chapman and Ryan. Stewart once again. Nice work to Burnham. Up the middle they go with Nagus. They're holding on the Reds, but they've got to hold out for one more tackle. Plenty of men on the left for the Green Machine as Daly puts it through. It's too deep. And Canberra failed to make the most of the last play.
Yeah, a little bit of a too strong kick from Laurie on that occasion, but I think all the credit has got to go to the Reds defence. Their readjustment on those occasions was first class. A little bit of pressure being put on Laurie as well. Two of the defenders coming through to put enormous amounts of pressure on him. Tackle just a little bit out of place, but I think we've got to give a lot of credit there to the Reds. I think the pride factor is certainly coming out late in the game to them. They want to try and prove to themselves, their fans, and particularly their opponents, that they're not giving this season up yet, although there's just under 15 minutes to go. Their defence on that occasion was absolutely first class.
Fritz has it for the Reds after the high tackle by the Raiders.
And Fritz just onto the field. He's interchanged with Mark Dyer.
Now it's Green. Late pass to Ryan. Safely away. Coming home strongly, the Reds. They're very keen. Rodwell to Evans. 30 metres out. Canberra racing back to 10 metres. Now it's Fleming. Tackled by Furner. Rodwell elects to go for the kick on the last. Hasn't gone far forward. Ryan and Wilshere contest it. Ryan ends up with it. Behind Fritz, still play on. Geyer decides to run. He puts the kick ahead. It's a chance for him here. Will it hold up? He flicks it back inside to Wilshere. But he had a foot in touch. Bad luck because Wilshere dived over.
Oh, he looked like the bloke walking across, hoping not to put his foot in concrete there, didn't he? He didn't want to leave the toe marks in it. He jumped into the air, tried to tap it back into a teammate. Just a little bit too well weighted. Otherwise, it would have been a real opportunity. There he goes, trying to jump into the air. Well, that was it. The last time his foot was on the ground was on the sideline. If he had tapped it, even though the ball was over the sideline in mid-air, and he had been in mid-air over the line, tapped it back in, it would have been play on. High tackle being called. A penalty coming up Canberra's way, which will take away a little bit of the pressure that's been put on them over the last 10 minutes. Something that I guess Mal will be pretty happy about, although he's still worried a little bit about the danger that they have. It will ensure that his team will know exactly what pressure's all about as they line up for next week's semi-final.
Jared Bella going high in the tackle, and he does that a little too often, giving away the penalty. Interesting to see Brad Clyde finding touches. He has been lately for the Raiders. Side with so many good kickers in it, like Daly and Stewart. Here's Furner up the middle, almost worries his way through.
And the big roar from the crowd was the official announcement of the crowd. Almost 13,000 here to witness the Reds and the Raiders.
Good crowd. They've been averaging 8.5, but that's an excellent finish to the season. Wolford still going. Now he finds Jason Burnham. He's through. He's got support. Should be a try. They've busted that try. Croker went without it. That was there to be had.
An absolute certainty that was bombed on that occasion. Well, if I said Mal was happy a few seconds ago, he'll have changed his mind since then. That one was something that had the opportunity to feel full confidence about. Simply an error, and now the Reds
He's
have
got
a
away
chance.
from Nandruku. He's got the speed to get down to halfway, but Nagus comes across.
And have a look at the amount of numbers there for the Canberra defence. 5 Canberra players got back to defend.
And Fleming with a big smile on his face as he taps Nandruku on the backside, saying, I got past it that time. Now Evans, the highest tackle from Stewart as Clyde went underneath. 30 metres out. Rodwell puts the kick ahead. Brady Smith flying through, but Fullerby has got it covered.
They're having a little bit of trouble, Warren, getting around this Canberra slide defence. I really think it's time that they tried or explored some different options, like the old run-around move. Halfback, giving it the 5'8", running around, and then coming up with a pass that's either going to go to 1, 2, or maybe even 3 players. It doesn't allow defence to slide when that happens.
The big guns are back on for the Reds. Damien Chapman has come off. He was suffering severe cramp, and Colin Ridding is on the bench with just a bit of a bleeding lip. Mark Guy and Robbie Kearns back into the action.
There's that play again between Stewart and Furner. Wolford can't find an opening. Perth making more tackles than Canberra, but possession is reasonably evenly shared. The kick goes downfield. It's a long chase for Matt Geyer. It's gone too far. Laurie Daly kicking just a little too long for the second time. Short space of time. Because with Ruben Wiki out injured for the season with a broken arm, we've been naming Fulavai as his replacement in the centres, but there's no way that's the case. Fulavai's on the wing throughout the game, and Andruka's playing in the centres. And his attack has been great, but Greg Fleming has got away from him twice when it's come to defence.
Yeah, there always has been a little bit of a question mark over his defence, but to be honest, I think when you're playing on the wing for a long, long time, Warren, I suppose you'd know it as well as anybody, a very experienced winger yourself, you really get lulled into playing one style of defensive pattern, especially if you're a left or a right winger. Now we see him, he's got to be able to adjust to slide the fence both ways.
Hear the call from referee Clark. Knocked on both ways, but it was Perth who put it down first.
The other option,
Canberra's feed.
The other option Canberra have as far as centres goes is Royston Lightning. He played all of his schoolboys football there at Erindale College. Was an absolute sensation in the what was the Commonwealth Bank Cup. He's on the wing for the Raiders, so they could very easily move him into the centre three-quarter.
At the moment, they'll probably persist with Nandruku. Persisting they are right now. Daly hit a dummy half, calling for a quick play. The ball, wanted them off him quicker. Now Furner gets almost outside Fleming. He just came again at him. Now Wolford. Half time it was 5 tries to 1. It stands at 6 tries to 3. Lyde monstered by Geyer and Miller and Ryan. He's been keeping a closer eye on Brad Clyde today. Hasn't had the free rein that he did last week. Wolford. Back it goes to Payton. Haven't seen a lot of Payton with the ball since he came on. 5th tackle, 10 metres out for the Canberra Raiders. And they score again here. Stewart takes him on himself, and he's been caught in possession on the last tackle. And that is not a good warm-up for the semi-final.
No, he went to run the ball there and throw the ball wide, either with a long pass or a kick. One of the close players decided to run on the inside angle. It probably lulled Ricky into a false sense of security, but perhaps opening up a gap.
As Perth players still have contracts for next year in mind. Peter Shields is going around in reserve grade. Rodwell has been playing well the last few weeks. I think that they would retain him for next year. There's Green. Fuller. Kearns was back on again. Evans following him. Used up 5 tackles. They're still short of halfway. Goes to Rodwell for the kick. Royston Lightning, well positioned, takes it easily.
Yeah, he did very well. He was well positioned, but it's a terrible kick. It went straight to him. It didn't make him work to go left or right, backwards or forwards, to try and put any or take any time away from grabbing the kick.
Ball's been lost though by Lightning.
Perth, lead loose.
This is the kick from Rodwell.
There it is. Just have a look on this occasion. He's standing there. The ball goes straight to him. I think the coaches will probably remind their players week in, week out that they've got to try and make the intention ball carrier work for it. If anything, it'll certainly take up and create a little bit of time and give the ball chasers a little bit of time and space to be able to work to.
Over the top it goes from Brady Smith. Kearns can't wrestle away from Payton. Fritz. Rodwell, a bad pass. Ryan, now Wilshere. There's 2 men in front of him. Mullins pulls him down, 10 metres out.
Get up. Well, get up and play it. He's still on the ground.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, perhaps I'm wrong here, but it really did look to me on that occasion as though he tried to get up, did John Wilshere, but had Brett Mullins' hand just tugging him back a little bit, and his knee pushed. Well, we've got to give a little bit of credit to the referee on that occasion, that he was standing on the other side. He may not have the opportunity, Stephen Clark, of being able to see Mullins' knee, restricting the player actually trying to get up and play the ball.
Number 33, Wayne Evans, has seen his last football of the night. His permanent replacement is jersey number 1, Ricky Taylor, a guy who we haven't seen a lot of in first grade this year.
Now it's Furner. Taylor, the former winner Manly player in Brisbane. Had a run at the end of last week's game. Wolford gets to his feet and plays it. It comes from Daly now, trying to get outside Chapman. They've had a ding-dong battle, those two. Chapman hasn't come off too badly either. He's played well. And there he is. He drives in low. Well, if there was a question mark before the game as to whether he could tackle Laurie Daly and handle him all day long, he's done pretty well. Now the kick is high for Geyer. Takes it beautifully. Matt Geyer. Good under the high ball.
That was a great catch.
Tristan Brady Smith gets it to Fleming. Away from the diving man Druke, who was coming back.
Have a look at this catch. I mean, he's running. He's almost at half pace when he was running. He had the knee up. That's probably used for two reasons. To give the tacklers a little bit of a confident sag, and also to help him gain a little bit of balance as he leaps into the air.
Just an interesting point of interest that Quentin Pongia was just about to come off. He's limping on a left ankle, but elected to stay out there. Fred Hetherington chomping on the bit to get back on.
Now it's Rodwell. Inside, Kearns can't handle. It's come off Canberra. Went forward initially. The crowd are booing, but they didn't have their eyes on the action. Kearns lost it into the Canberra player.
It clearly went forward into the Canberra defender. He took his eyes off it a little bit, Robbie Kearns, on that occasion, but he has been one of the shining lights tonight for the Reds. And again, we saw the situation there where Damien Chapman was playing halfback, tipping the ball out to Matty Rodwell, who was standing probably 5 yards wider than a normal 5'8", and having the option of an inside and outside runner. And you've got Kearns charging on it at top speed. It really does give you a little bit of strength.
And Druku carries it up towards halfway, running the angle off Daly. In fact, that was Nagus. Now to play it as Croker. Burnham. So far, Perth are winning the second half, 10 points to 6. Trouble was they were behind 26 to 6 at half time. Nagus plays it to Stewart. Daly. Short pass from Mullins behind Lightning and out over the sideline. Shake of the head from Brett Mullins. Quite work for him. He tried the quick pass.
Trying to catch them on this side of the field again. Pretty well held up pass on that occasion. I think if anything, you've really got to say that maybe Lightning tended to overcharge the pass a little bit, but he of course couldn't read into Laurie Daly's mind, and that he was going to hold that first pass up just that little bit longer. The
idea was right from Mullins because Wilshire had come in to tackle him, so Lightning had no one marking him down the line. 2.5 minutes left. Last couple of dashes for the Perth Reds for the season. A very competitive season. Keep a close eye on them because at this stage we don't know whether there'll be a Perth team next year. As the kick ahead was taken beautifully by Mullins, and Mullins quickly brings it back at them. Well tackled by Ricky Taylor. Now it's Daly. Up to Lightning. Yes, Robbie Kearns in front of him. He's got away from Wilshire. He comes to the fullback Geyer. Nagus back to Lightning. Lightning away from one, away from two. They've stopped him just in time. The Canberra players loom up on the right. There's plenty of them out wide. But Wolford, now he gets it to them. Stewart decides to kick ahead. It's Brady Smith versus Nandruku, and Nandruku gets there. And Nandruku makes it 10-all for the second half, with a kick to come. And Mark Geyer having a bit of an argument, verbally only, with Royston Lightning, I think it was.
Yeah, here it comes with Lightning running down this sideline. We saw Kearns But poor guy, a front rower, lulled into the job of cover defence, but I really thought they bombed a certain try on that occasion. The ball eventually coming back to Ricky Stewart. He saw that the Reds players were standing probably 10 or 15 metres offside. It was a better option to try and kick across the face and hope that they'd either reach the ball on the full or perhaps the bounce would favour them, which it did, to help them drill another 4 points into the coffin of the Perth team for the night.
Great vision by Ricky Stewart. They probably could have gone through the hands, but there were 2 Canberra players winning the race, and Andruku beats Fulavai for it. Now, when Andruku's season was interrupted by a broken leg, he still managed 7 tries and has been in outstanding form since coming back from the injury. Western Lightning has taken over the kicking with David Furner off the field. 9 from 12 so far this year with a boot. Long and low and wide. So just a few seconds left in the game as Canberra extend their lead to 36-16. The players aren't going to get any more action tonight. So exactly the same difference in this game as there was the previous meeting. It was 30-10 last time. This time it's 36-16.